Let's talk about what's on everyone's mind, the economy. Specifically, the impact we might expect this year in the wake of the election.
2025, what can we see from an economic perspective?
I would say accountants have sort of underperformed the average, and we're seeing the hiring and accounting actually much slower than it was even a year ago. So we're definitely not seeing a pace of hiring that's very dynamic right now.
I'd like to pick up on inflation in terms of what I think, because I think that's going to be meaningful. So if you believe, as I do, that periodic bursts of inflation is the new normal, you might see interest rates stall for a little bit. You might see consumers pull back a little bit. Inflation is part of our new world now, and that's going to have an effect on the 2025 economy, along with maybe a slower labor market as well.
How is the new administration going to affect us overall around tax season, taxes, laws?
Well, I don't know that we'll see a lot of change immediately. I think where there's going to be change is later in the year, especially when we start looking at some of those TCJA provisions that are up for either expiration or renewal.
The administration has made it very clear that at the outset, they immediately want to repeal as much of the Inflation Reduction Act provisions as possible, so the IRA provisions. Also, things that can impact small businesses, we can expect perhaps more support for extension of the Section 199 Cap A provision.
We mentioned all the regulation and the guidance that we need on some of the Secure Act provisions and some of the other provisions that we've been waiting for. And there is a tendency for a new administration to put a halt on guidance that hasn't become effective yet, or regulations that haven't become effective yet.
Where do you see the future of the accounting profession?
We have to essentially rebrand. CPAs, accounting professionals have the trust of their clients. Our customers are going to start figuring out that the apps can do it, that their phones can do it, that we're going to be essentially compared to that.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable. So I think it's about embracing it and helping shape what that new brand is.
You know, that you have to establish a standard, right? A definition for success. And how did you define that definition in those early days? And how has that standard evolved for you over time?
When you're younger and in sports, success is usually defined by winning. As I got older, I realized success looks different for everybody. Everybody's goals are different, so it doesn't always mean being the boss, being the CEO, or getting first place. Most of the time, I define success as me hitting whatever goals I wanted for certain competitions. And if I hit those, then that was successful for me. Then personally, I won.